Hello chess family, it's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be going over some different plans on how to play and attack when you have the isolated pawn. We're going to be going over d4, d5, which we'll be going over today, and some other fun ideas are attacking f7, f2, rook lift ideas, sacking on h6 when you do make that weakness, harry the h-pawn, pushing up the h-pawn to create weaknesses, and play along the c-file, and many, many more. I'm really looking forward to this series. Let's get to it, guys. Here we go. And today we're taking a look about how to play the isolated pawn position from the white side, or in this case, the attacking side of the game. And we're going to take a look at a lot of different ideas of this idea. Well, many different attacking concepts in it. But the first one we're going to take a look at today is how to do d4, d5. I can already hear someone saying, what's the idea of d4, d5? Very simple. Once you get your pieces into very good positions, by playing d4, d5, you're going to unleash all the potential with your pieces behind it because, well, the d pawn can be a bit restricting. It's also a good pawn in the center because it controls more squares than your opponent will, as it's one square backwards. So here, the idea is to get rid of your only pawn weakness and then also unleash your piece's potential to attack. Let's take a look at this very fun and strong idea. Well, first thing I wanted to show you is how to do the correct position setup when you're playing isolated pawn. In this position right here, it is white to move, and well, I know a lot of people would have a hard time playing this kind of position. Why? Well, whenever you're playing these kind of positions, you have to think about where the best place to put your pieces are. And in this scenario, I know a lot of people here be looking to move the bishop, which actually is incorrect here. And the reason why it's not good is because, well, one of the ideas when you play isolated pawn is to attack, right? And the attacking idea is to attack on h7. And I said earlier, there's no good square. Well, let's take a look. What's wrong with bishop d2? Well, bishop d2, now they could just take the pawn on d4. One of the ideas here was that they couldn't take on d4 because then bishop takes h7 check and we'll be able to win the piece back pretty easily. Okay, what about bishop e3? It's an okay position, but remember, we're playing an aggressive game here, and if you start defending, well, you're already on the wrong foot there. You want to make the attack. Bishop f4, not a very good square. It attacks the amazing nothing, right? Although it looks good because it controls lots of squares, it's not what we're looking for. We're not trying to attack on the queen side. And here bishop g5 is the right idea, but not just yet. To play bishop g5 right now, black would be very happy later on to try and make a trade. So we have to bring bishop g5 in with a threat, which leads us to the right move here, which is bishop c2. I know that move is a little confusing for some people, but the idea here is very simple. Whenever you're trying to attack your opponent, especially in these isolated pawns, you have to help create weaknesses or invoke them. A good chess player will not do this by themselves. Meaning, well, in this position right here, black's weakest square is h7, right? And here, well, we can't really put any threats against it until we play queen to d3. Someone might be asking, can't we just play queen c2 here? You're more than welcome to play queen c2, but as I was playing at a chess tournament once, there was a master next to me. An expert was playing, he played the queen to c2, and then the master next to me ended up playing bishop c2, and he played queen to d3. What's the moral of the story? One threatens checkmate, the other threatens check. Those are two big ideas, right? And obviously checkmate is much stronger here. So let's go and continue. Bishop c2 threatens queen to d3 to threaten checkmate on h7. And you're saying, well, yes, the knight just defends. Well, whenever we make this threat, they're going to have to defend it, especially after we play our idea of bishop g5, which now comes with a threat. So the idea here is very simple. By playing the bishop c2, queen d3, bishop g5, we're going to be threatening checkmate h7, and they're going to have to make a weakness here. All right, here we go. Black plays the good move, bishop b7. Your opponent in these isolated pawn positions should be trying to control the d5 square. Wherever your isolated pawn is, that is where the weak square is in front of it. That's why when you can play this idea of d4, d5, your game's going to get much better. Okay, queen went to d3. Now there is threats about bishop g5 and then bishop taking to make the checkmate threat. And here black voluntarily makes his weakness. He plays pawn to g6. He didn't have to do this, but it was a good precautionary move, right? And it doesn't matter if they play pawn h6 or g6 to try and stop the idea of bishop g5 here. Either way, they're going to create weaknesses. What did they create the weakness of when they played g6? When g6 got played, now we see the dark squares around the king get made. If you played h6, well, now you have bishop takes h6 ideas. So either way, again, you're going to help provoke or create these type of weaknesses. In the game here, g6 was played. And now, well, let's go ahead and take those squares. Bishop h6 attacking the rook. Rook over to e8, and now a very nice idea here. Rook 8 d1, bringing in the last piece. Now you can see we have all our pieces, yet the potential is not able to be done yet, meaning they have very good squares, but, well, they're just being blocked off by the pawn. Well, we're going to prepared d5, we can't play it just yet. Here, after queen to d6, a decent move. Here we played pawn to b4, a strange looking move. We would like to have played bishop b3 to prepare d5, but if you do that right away, black has this very nice idea of knight to a5. And now you see the bad point about this. The knight gets a free tempo by attacking the bishop, but also they're attacking on the queen side on the light squares, and the bishop opens up to control d5. If white can achieve d5 here, they're typically going to be very good. Again, they get rid of their only weakness, and they're able to open up the position so their rooks or pieces can now start attacking. So don't play this move just yet. Here we're going to go ahead and play pawn to b4 to stop that. Black played rook a c8, bishop b3, and here black played a suspicious move of, well, pawn to a5. It's white to move. What do you play here? Feel free to push pause if you want to. If not, enjoy the show. Here we go. What do we play? Very simple. We're going to play pawn to d5 here, of course. What was the idea? Remember, we're trying to get rid of this pawn so that we can go ahead and open up the position and create the attack. The game actually ends quite fast here. I do want to point out real quick that if you had tried to go after this pawn over here on b5 with either knight takes or queen takes, it just gets you into trouble. For instance, after knight takes on b5, black has queen back to b8, bishop a6, and, well, white is technically better here. This is just not good for them because, remember, the whole point of the isolated pawn is to go for the attack. By grabbing pawns on the wing, you're really just steering away from your best plan, attacking. And what happens if you tried to play the other move of queen takes on b5? Well, here you actually get in trouble real fast with knight takes on b4. And look at this idea. It's very nice. The rook got opened up to attack the knight. If you go ahead and take it, well, rook takes on c3, and now we have a lot of good attacking ideas here. And actually, it's actually black who is better in this position. So remember, keep playing for the right idea. Pawn to d5 here. And after this, white is just winning. And black really has nothing better than to take back here on d5. If they don't take, well, then you have two different options here. You can take either way. In the game, they went ahead and played pawn takes. And how do we take back? Knight takes, knight takes. And here I like to ask people, how would you take back in this situation? Remember, always make the moves that were going to give you the most potential or attacking ideas. So here do we play queen takes or bishop takes? Hopefully no one said queen takes. Remember, to keep the queens on the board, it means there's going to be attacking chances or checkmating ideas. So here, bishop takes on d5, and we already have our first threat. In the game, black saw the threat and played knight to d8, which actually does lose pretty fast here. What was the threat here? Let's just say black goes in and takes a pawn here. Here we win the queen at least with bishop takes on f7 check. Okay, doesn't king just take? Yes, they do. And after this, now we're just checkmating over here. But we're going to start with queen to b3 check. And it's a simple discovery idea. Now the rook can take the queen. All right, back to the game. So here, black went ahead and played, knight to d8. So what's the idea here? It's white to move. Again, I encourage you to push pause here. Find the winning move here for white. All right, white to move. You get to play the simple queen to d4, and there's really no good way to stop the simple idea of queen to d4 for check and mate. If they move the bishop back, we'll simply take the rook. They can't move the pawn forward as it's in a pin, and of course taking pieces here is just not going to do you any good. At this point, black can just go ahead and resign. Let's go and take a look at our next game here. We have 3 more examples to show. All right, our next one up here is, again, black is looking to control this d5 square. You can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces which are all covering the d5 square. And so, what do we play here? Believe it or not, we're going to do it anyways. We play pawn to d5. An amazing move to play here. And, well, a lot easier to play whenever you know what you're trying to find, right? It's a lot easier whenever you know the idea that you're trying to play for. And here, all moves are going to be bad. Let's take a look at each one of these ones and show why white's just winning here. What happens if they play knight b takes on d5? Here we simply just win a piece here. Check it out. Here we're going to play bishop takes on f6. And, well, there's 2 ways to capture back. Both are just losing. Knight takes on f6, loses fast, 2-2. Rook takes on d8. Okay. What about bishop takes on f6? Here we win a piece again with knight takes on d5. And notice the pawn does not want to take back because queen takes on e8, just winning and actually checkmating in this position. Dear Lord. And all these ones, the same thing happens, basically because this rook on e8 is actually just very weak. What happens if they play with the other knight? F takes on d5? Basically the same idea. We go ahead and play knight takes on d5. And if they take on g5, well, we're just winning here with knight takes on b6. Queen takes, knight takes. Is there another variation here we could take a look at? Again, we could take a look at knight takes on d5 here. And the same thing kind of happens. Bishop takes on e7. and either rook takes or queen takes will end up with bishop takes on d5, again winning a piece due to the pin. Dear Lord. Yeah, the best way that black can play this is just going to be playing the queen to c7 here, which got played in the game. And here, white just continued on to have a very strong attack with a simple move of bishop takes on f6, bishop takes, and then knight to e4. Dear Lord, things are just getting bad here. Obviously, pawn cannot take due to the check, and yeah, just a very good example game. All right, 2 more. Here we go. This one right here, it was white to move. What do you play here? I hope you're getting used to it. This game is with Kamsky versus Karpov, and you get to play it yet again. Pawn to d5. And here, well, unfortunately for Karpov, it just does not end well here. One of the ideas here is against the weak bishop on e7 because the knight is the only defender. Well, here, pawn takes on d5 was played, and now we're going to go ahead and make that weakness. Bishop takes on f6, bishop takes on f6, bishop takes on h7 check, king takes, and now rook takes on d5 for a fork against the bishop and the queen. And again, we don't see any good moves for them. In the game, black went ahead and played bishop takes on c3 because of the simple move just losing. For instance, if they play queen to c7 here, it's white to move. What do you play? Here there's a few different tries, but the simple move to win back the piece will be queen to d3 check, attacking both the king and also double attacking on the bishop. It's going to be game over here, winning back not only your piece, but also getting a very good attacking position. All right, our last example over here. And this is a very fun one. This one is Kamsky versus Short. Nigel Short actually got to come by our chess club over here at Complete Chess. So it's always very nice to look at these games. Unfortunately for Short, he was playing the black side of this. And Kamsky is, well, he's just going to punish him pretty meanly here. In the position, you can see this is a very complicated one. At this point, white just played pawn to h4, trying to create some attacking chances. And black makes the mistake and plays knight to f6, which actually looks like a decent idea. Okay, it's white to move. We're going to punish him. What are we going to do? Here, we're going to prepare that idea of d5. So we start off with knight takes on f6 check, knight takes, and here we play it pawn to d5 here, exclam, yet again. Okay, well, there's a few different ways to capture here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and yet each one of these is just bad. And here, again, we're kind of seeing the idea with that rook kind of being unprotected yet again on e8. Here, we're going to go ahead and play. Black went ahead and played knight takes on e4. Let's take a look at some ideas of why taking on d5 was just not the best choice. Well, let's start off with an easy one here. What happens if knight takes on d5? Here we get the very nice idea. Bishop takes on d5. Bishop takes on d5. And here we go. Rook takes on d5. Again, I said that rook on e8 is very weak. If the queen takes on d5 here, we get the very nice win of knight f6 check. And if bishop takes, now we just play queen takes on d5. Again, it's going to be checkmate because this rook is unprotected. So black would only have one try here. He would go ahead and try to play pawn takes on d5. But yet again, they're just losing. Knight f6 check. Bishop takes. Rook takes, queen takes, and queen takes on f6. And here, there's no good way to stop the lollipop checkmate over here. Okay, here we go. So after d5 here, what is there anything else? Again, each variation is almost boiling down the same way. Pawn takes on d5. Here we go again. Knight takes on f6 check. Bishop takes. Rook takes on e8. Queen takes, and queen takes wins yet again. Again, all these variations all boil down to just the weakness of this unprotected rook. And of course, we're not going to be playing queen takes d5 anytime soon here, as it's just losing. That's why in the game, black went ahead and played knight takes on e4. And here, well, you're more than welcome to take the knight over here, but Kamsky saw the best idea. He went ahead and took on e6 here. And now we got two big ideas here. Queen takes on f7 is threatening checkmate on g7 here. And we also opened up for the queen to attack the rook. At this point, Short went ahead and played pawn f5. And as you can guess, Kamsky just went ahead and took the rook over here on d8 to get a winning position. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Remember, this was one of the ideas that you can use whenever you're learning how to play with the isolated pawn. We're going to play the d4, d5 idea. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.